Okay, think about this. Paris, 1880. The Opera House. Grand, beautiful. But things start getting weird.
Right. Really weird. You've got dancers seeing things. Like, one of them catches sight of this figure in the shadows.
Not just any figure, though. It's described as having this dead man's face. Yellow skin, no nose.
Yeah.
And wearing evening clothes, which is just bizarre.
Exactly. And then there are these stories about a voice. A man's voice heard in rooms that are supposed to be empty. It all points to one thing, doesn't it?
The Phantom of the Opera. That's what we're diving into today. Not the musical, not the films, but the original accounts. The eyewitness stuff from inside the opera house.
Yeah, we're trying to piece together what people actually experienced, what they saw and heard. It's like putting together a puzzle from all these fragments.
And for you listening, maybe you know this story generally, but we want to dig into those first encounters, you know? How did people react? How did that fear start to build?
So those early sightings, the dancers were right there on the front line, weren't they? Annie Celli seeing that figure in a dark passage.
She described it peeling away from the wall like it wasn't solid. That detail, the dead face, the missing nose, you can almost feel the cold shock of it.
You really can. But then you also had another dancer, apparently one with very dark hair, who just brushed it off.
Right. Said it was just a shadow, Annie was imagining things. Which is interesting, that immediate denial.
Totally. It's like the mind trying to find a normal explanation even when something feels deeply wrong. A defense mechanism, maybe.
Makes sense. But then you get Joseph Bouquet, a stagehand, a practical guy.
And he sees something similar. Tall man, black coat, yellow face, no nose. Again, that consistency starts to chip away at the it's just shadows idea.
And then you have Meg Giry whispering about it.
Oh yeah, young Meg. Telling people, don't talk about him, he doesn't like it. And saying, her mother knows.
Her mother, the keeper for Box 5. Implying there's some existing knowledge there, right? Like this isn't entirely new.
Exactly. Was it old rumors suddenly seeming real? Or did Madame Giry actually know something specific? That Box 5 connection is there right from the start. It's, suspicious.
Meanwhile, the new directors, Armand and Firmin, they just want to run their opera house. Ghost stories. Bad for business.
You can see why they'd be skeptical, or at least want to appear skeptical. The last thing they need is panic spreading.
And then Bouquet is found dead, hanged, with a rope around his neck. That kind of changes things, doesn't it?
It shatters the skepticism, and Meg Giry apparently screams, the ghost! The ghost killed him! That raw fear, it just explodes.
Suddenly, it's not just whispers and shadows anymore. There are real deadly consequences.
And then the first letter arrives, signed OG.
Opera ghost, we assume.
Seems likely, addressed straight to the new directors. The demands are just audacious.
Box 5. Keep it empty for him every night. And send 20,000 francs a month.
Plus that warning. I can be a good friend, but a terrible enemy. Chilling stuff.
But the directors, still calling it a joke, a prank. Even after Bouquet's death, it seems. Well, almost foolish now.
Yeah, you wonder what was going through their heads. Disbelief, fear of looking gullible, fear of being blackmailed. It's hard to say, but they definitely underestimated the situation.
And right around this time, Christine Daaé happens.
Ah, yes! Christine! Suddenly she's the star of Faust, goes from the chorus to this overnight sensation. Everyone in Paris is talking about her voice.
They called it beautiful, angelic. But Meg Giry makes that comment, doesn't she?
She does. Something like, she never sang like that before, which immediately makes you think, okay, where did that come from? Was someone helping her?
Enter Raul, Vicomte de Chagny, knew Christine years ago as kids.
Right. He sees her perform, recognizes her instantly, completely smitten all over again.
But when he goes to see her, she's cold, distant, says she doesn't even remember him, which is odd. Something's clearly changed with her.
And Raul overhears something vital, doesn't he? He hides and listens.
Yeah, he hears Christine talking to herself or someone else about a man's voice, calling her an angel, teaching her.
That's the first real clue linking this mysterious phantom figure directly to Christine's amazing voice. It's not just random haunting, there's a connection, a deliberate influence.
And then comes the second letter from OG.
And the tone is very different this time, much angrier.
Definitely. He's clearly furious they ignored the first letter. Repeats the demands, Box 5, the money.
And adds a direct threat related to Christine. Make sure she sings Margarita again or he'll be that terrible enemy he warned about.
The directors, unbelievably, still seem to be trying to ignore it. They let La Carlotta sing Margarita instead.
Big mistake. Because that performance Well, it goes spectacularly wrong.
Those noises,
Yeah.
the coac,
Yeah.
sound interrupting Carlotta's singing, like a giant frog in the
The
auditorium.
audience is confused, then they start laughing. Carlotta is furious, humiliated. The directors are completely lost. It's chaos.
It's the Phantom making a very public statement, isn't it? Don't ignore me. I can disrupt everything.
Absolutely. But it gets so much worse.
The chandelier?
The chandelier, that huge, heavy, ornate centerpiece, it crashes down
Yeah.
right into the audience.
People killed, injured, just horrific. The opera house has to close for 2 weeks.
This escalates things massively. It's not just disruptions or threats now, it's deadly force. The Phantom is showing his power in the most terrifying way.
And poor Raul is watching Christine through all this, getting more and more worried.
Understandably. He sees her changing, sometimes quiet and unhappy, other times laughing and singing, almost too brightly, but she won't talk about the opera house or her voice.
She starts talking more about her angel of music, though. This figure she mentions but won't explain.
It's becoming her sort of coping mechanism,
Hmm.
or maybe her explanation for what's happening to her.
And then she just disappears. Vanishes.
Raul is frantic, obviously, searching everywhere until he gets a mysterious letter.
Telling him to go up to the 10th floor, which is apparently this really dangerous area, all ropes and rigging above the stage.
It feels like a trap, or at least the Phantom deliberately pulling Raul into his world, onto his territory.
And it's up there, in that dangerous place, that Christine finally tells Raul everything.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it.
The angel of music, and he's real, a man. He's been teaching her.
And he took her... where?
Down below the opera house, there's apparently a lake under there. And he has a house on the lake. He took her there by boat.
A house under the opera house.
Ah.
On a lake? It sounds like something out of a nightmare.
And her description of him, it matches the earlier sightings. The dead man's face, yellow skin, no nose. But she adds more detail. Black holes for eyes, with a horrible red light inside them.
Just chilling. And she says he kept her there. For 5 days.
5 days. Told her he wanted her to be his wife. Said he was desperately unhappy because of his face.
And then... the mask.
Yeah.
He wore a mask.
Yes. But he took it off, showed her his real face, and Christine describes it as the most terrible face imaginable. Her reaction was pure horror.
Wow. So she's terrified of him, buddy.
But she also feels sorry for him. Pity. This man, Eric, she reveals his name is Eric. He's so isolated because of how he looks.
That's incredibly complicated. Fear and pity all mixed up.
And fear for Raul, too. Eric knows about him. He threatened to kill Raul if Christine didn't come back to him. So she felt she had no choice. She had to return.
What a terrible position to be in. And just as things seem utterly desperate, this other character appears. The Persian.
Right. This mysterious man who seems to know his way around knows about Eric. He helps guide Raul and Christine away from the dangerous upper levels. Nobody knows his name, apparently, but he's clearly important.
Then there's that moment by the door. Raul and Christine. A kiss. A plan.
Yeah, a desperate plan. Raul wants to take her away, marry her, get her out of there for good. A brief moment of hope.
But it doesn't last, does it?
Mm-hmm.
She goes back on stage as Margarita.
And vanishes. Right off the stage. Mid-performance. In front of everyone.
Chaos again. Total confusion. Meg Giry saw her backstage just moments before. Heard her voice. Then nothing.
It's like he can just pluck her out of thin air. His control seems absolute.
Raul, desperate again, finds the Persian.
And this time, they go down. Into the cellars, towards that house on the lake, following Eric's trail.
They end up in that mirror room you mentioned earlier. Sounds disorienting.
Designed to be. A trap, likely. Shows Eric's cleverness, but also his distorted way of thinking, maybe. Controlling perception.
So what happens then? How does it end?
Well, the immediate aftermath is unclear in the accounts Raul and the Persian gave. But weeks later, Madame Giry goes to see the Persian. She needs answers. What happened to Christine? To Raul? To the Phantom?
And the Persian tells her.
He tells her Eric, the Phantom, is dead. He is dead now, he says.
And reveals who he really was.
Yes, Eric. A brilliant builder, originally from Persia, apparently. He actually helped design and build parts of the opera house, the secret passages, the house on the lake. His skills were used to create his own prison, in a way.
Because of his face. He's his figurement.
Exactly. His whole life defined by this terrible face, the fear he caused. It's actually quite tragic when you hear it like that.
So we go from these spooky ghost sightings to this very human, very sad story of Eric. A man driven to extremes by isolation, and now the world saw him.
His impact on the opera house, on Christine, on Raul, it was immense. Devastating, really.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? As you've been listening, what part of this really sticks with you? Do those early ghost stories feel different now, knowing it was Eric behind them? Less scary, or maybe sadder?
It definitely forces you to consider how much appearance can shape someone's life, their destiny. Was Eric born a monster, or did the world's reaction to him create the phantom? It's that question of nature versus nurture, maybe,
Yeah.
played out in this really extreme theatrical way. A lot to chew on there.